Everyone talks about how to improve the funnel, but they never actually show you existing ones that are performing unbelievably high at the moment. My name is James Lewis, CEO of Whiteboarder Investments. We've worked with nearly 800 companies now over the last 5.5 years in the lead gen space, spent just over 30 million in ads, and part of that is giving the expertise to companies that we work with so that they can actually have the highest performing funnel. So we're working with a client right now, and they have one of the highest performing ROIs I've ever seen on an individual funnel. So today we're going to break down their exact funnel, the industry that they're in, and basically go over each metrics and how that could even be improved further, and how you can basically unlock in your brain the next steps in your business so that you know where to go from here. So let's jump right in. So a full sales funnel teardown. So 14.7 thousand in ad spend, and that resulted in over $300,000 in revenue, a 2,300% ROI. So the initial snapshot, this was in a single month. So this was a few months ago, about 2 months ago, I believe. Did 267 leads, spent 14,700. And within 90 days of that, which we've just finalized the 90-day report, they made from leads in that given month 357,000 with a 2,300% ROI. Now, this is in the mortgage industry, and mortgage industry with a custom offer. So this custom offer, basically, I won't go too into it because it's proprietary information for that company, but essentially it's a custom offer where they get an upfront fee and they get basically a back end of the com, and it is a custom offer. So it's not just a normal refinance. It's where they refinance, they do a couple other things, and they help them in terms of their financials, wealth management and creation, etc. So on the ad set level, think about this. For 267 leads, we got 250,000 impressions, 1,900 clicks. It was only a click-through rate though of 0.77%. So this is all on Meta ads as well, by the way. We averaged a $55 CPL. And as you can see, when you have an offer that you make so much money per individual offer, it's very good when you can then pull out a CPL of $55. It's unbelievable. And then with a click-through rate though of 0.77, that can be a bit higher. And we obviously have a lot of retargeting opportunity here. So if you're ever running a campaign and you're getting this much traffic, you need to make sure that when you start getting into the thousands of clicks, you're actively retargeting. Impressions 2,500, that's obviously now just more brand awareness for the actual brand. However, do not use this as the metric. This is the worst metric to ever go off. Clicks are then the second worst. CTR is very good for indicating how good the offer is resonating with the market. There's two things you can do with CTR. You can either improve the actual targeting, because it means that people who are seeing it aren't actually resonating with wanting to click on it, or it means that the offer just isn't good enough. So it's too basic in terms of what you're actually doing. The step from there, if you want to improve the offer, is look at the 4-stage value equation. You need to either increase the dream outcome, or you need to increase perceived likelihood of achievement. That's usually what you need to do in finance. So that's the breakdown. Now, from there, we then had landing page performance. We had variant A running at 12% and variant B running at 8.7%, which averaged with all traffic, because they weren't even 50-50 distribution, it averaged at 11.45%. So is this a good landing page conversion rate? It's above average. It's definitely not where we wanted it to be though. We know we can get this higher. And I will cover what improvements we actively made and we're making as well, so you can see. And the back-end performance, it was around an 8%, just over 8% lead conversion rate, 21 clients, and the average client value, it's actually higher than 17,000. I just put in 17,000 because it's a very conservative number of what, there's no way a client could be worth less than that for this specific person. And the biggest lesson here as well that you want to basically think of and take a look at is the fact that if you're making $3,000 a client, you're never going to beat a business like this making 17,000 a client. And in finance, everyone goes, oh, like I can only make $3,000 in the com and things like that. You 100% can't. This company charges an upfront fee. Then they get the back end commission as well. And they've found a way that essentially every client's loan amount also isn't averaging what yours probably is in the mortgage space of $500,000, or in the business finance space of $60,000, or insurance of say a couple $100,000 premium. They're not just making $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a client. So the ROI and the way that you can exponentially make more profit and exponentially build the business, you won't be able to do as quickly as someone making 17,000. So the two things you do, you just need to do more volume of everything, or you need to find a way to increase your client's lifetime value to get it as high as 17,000, 10,000, or just higher than it currently is. So, section 2, let's go into what we actually need to improve on this so you can see what we look at and what I look at when we're actually trying to improve a funnel like this. So, scale and growth. So, humongous ROI, okay? ROI is above 2,300. And this proves that obviously the funnel is unbelievably profitable because they are currently, we're running their ads. So, like, we're taking care of all of their paid advertising. So, we're obviously like the one generating the leads and doing all that. It's not them, it's not pay per lead. And basically the immediate opportunity is we need to scale spend absolutely dramatically. And that's what we did. We scaled spend. What actually happened then is we scaled spend too massively. Hiring couldn't keep up because of how much money is basically worth of each of these deals. So you need to make sure conversion rate stays consistent. And we've had to now draw spend back because the actual, the limit was hiring. We need proper people coming into the business, and that takes time. It's not as easy as, 14 days you can scale up spend from 267 leads to 500, say. That's much easier than obviously bringing in a better team. So the biggest thing as well is even if ROI drops, just remember it doesn't matter. If your absolute cash in the bank right now, let's say, for example, you make a 5x return on your ad spend. You spend 10 grand, you make 50. So you now profit $40,000. And you think, I want to maintain that 5x, but you make 40 grand. Even if you 5x that spend, but your ROI decreased. So you 5x spend, so that goes from 10,000 to 50,000. But let's say your ROI reduces to say 3.5. Now 3.5 or 350% ROI brings your revenue, I believe, to 175,000. So now you are making 175 minus 50, so you're making 125. Although your ROI has dropped pretty dramatically, your absolute cash in bank went from 40 to 125,000. I'm pretty sure every month you would rather be making 125,000 than 40. So I think a lot of people get stuck on the fact that they are actually focused on their actual ROI and not total linear amount of money. That's a huge thing. Because our ROI internally, like we do, I don't want to say the number, but we do huge numbers in terms of the biz leads, other companies under the investment firm. And the ROI is not as high as you might think. We don't get a 10x ROI. We don't spend 10 grand and make 100. It's not how it works. Because as you slowly get up, it becomes less and less efficient in terms of ad spend and when you're scaling Meta or Google or those kind of campaigns. Number 2 is front-end optimization on the ad level. So ad performance, CTR, needs to be above 1%. This showed that our ads or our targeting was slightly off. The offer is very good. However, the offer is kind of too good. So you actually need to dull down the offer sometimes because people don't believe it's going to be real. However, the second thing that we did, which optimized CTR above 1%, was improved targeting. So on Meta, the absolute specifics of what we did is instead of this was all open targeting, we started now targeting specific interests as well as lookalike audiences. So lookalike audiences are where, and you might already know this, but lookalike audiences are where you take all of your existing customers, you plug that in, and now you target people who are at a 1% likelihood, 2% or 3% or up to 10%, as close to that basically audience that you've uploaded. And that increased our CTR above 1% now. So tightening audience relevance, refreshing ad creative for stronger hooks and visuals, but also the offer is quite good, so we're trying to make it so it's less sophisticated. It seems less sophisticated, so it's more simple language that we're actually using. And then obviously you need to always increase ad velocity, so you need to continue to do more hooks, more ads, more everything. The landing page, strong, and that was 11.45%, but Performance B was underperforming massively. So we swapped it out with another variant that then shot up the average, and we're sitting above our current average of 11.45. I believe we're sitting closer to 14% now because we took off variant B, put another variant in. Variant A is still very similar, but variant B is now sitting closer towards 15%, so that dragged the average up. And we use unbounce, and that essentially gives you, it uses what's called smart traffic, and smart traffic essentially puts the traffic to the best variant it thinks is going to convert. Now finally, backend conversion rate, okay? Lead to client conversion rate. With this offer, with the filtering that is coming through, we believe that this can go higher than 8%. We think it can be circa 10%. Although it might take the 3-month lead time to actually get it done, the offer is unbelievable, and in unbelievable offers, usually conversion rate follows. So what does that mean? We increased the actual filtering on the ads to make, on the form and the landing page to make sure that we actually are hitting a solid conversion rate above 10%. And that hasn't been realized yet because it takes time for us to actually know, but we're seeing amazing results so far. Document return rates shot up, everything. Then the main lever is pulling to get speed to lead is to get above 10%, is speed to lead plus SDR scripting. So making sure that there's actually an SDR in the company so that speed to lead isn't an issue, so that brokers aren't calling it. So same team structure, you'll see me preach everywhere. It is speed to lead, but also it's the SDR framework that you're going to put inside your business, which means you need to have an SDR or an appointment setter. SDR stands for Sales Development Representative, or an appointment setter, basically the same role, and you take them and they qualify all the leads and they put it up into the senior broker or the senior person who's going to be then handling the rest of the transaction and actually going through to settlement. Okay, so focusing on immediate response and quality follow-up processes. Okay, it is so important. The team structure is more important than you can think, because with this kind of team structure you make more profit and also you optimize internal business metrics, so it's so much more efficient. So let's quickly recap. Started off, huge revenue numbers from that specific month, absolutely enormous. Huge ROI. When you see ROI this big, it means you're not spending enough money. It means that 14K needs to be 100K a month, because even if your ROI is 1,000%, it drops by more than half. 1,000% means you spend 100 grand a month, you make $1 million a month. Think about that. Cool, maybe you have 300 grand in staffing costs, doesn't matter, okay? You will have enormous amounts of actual money that you will be getting, okay? Total leads, 267, need to straight up scale that. We have a little bit of room in CPL. This can go upwards to $100 before it even becomes that we need to even look at it and be concerned about it. So that's unbelievably good. Landing page variants, always keep an eye on this. Low performers, turn them off, replace them. Only replace the headline, maybe designs once every now and then. Everyone should be looking at increasing average client value, whether that be hiring a secondary service provider, which I don't always recommend, but just being able to rework actually having your average client value being high. It's so important, okay? Section 2, the actual higher ROI, instantly scaling, improving CTR, and then client conversion rate going up from there. So they're the things that we're doing on a super high performing funnel to improve it as we continue to grow with this company. So hopefully that was valuable. Hopefully you took away some important points here. If you have any questions, always DM, message, comment, anything like that. But apart from that, have an amazing day and speak soon.